Hi everybody. Today we are here to talk about things I don't have as a caregiver, and maybe things I have that I don't want to have as a caregiver. Caregivers who have paid jobs and family caregivers whose work is their unpaid job can experience a lot of stress and anxiety about things that they don't have as a result of caring for an elderly parent or a spouse, maybe children, or another person in your life. It's easy to think about those things that one used to have and one used to do before becoming a caregiver and really kind of miss those things a lot. So in this video, I'll share things caregivers no longer have and things that caregivers have that they may not want, and thoughts to help you move into a mental state of possibility to manage all the burnout and the stress that may be negatively impacting your life because all you see are limitations. I can't do this. I can't have that. Instead of possibilities. What if? What if I could do this? What if I could do that? For caregivers, these things I don't have can be things like time. There's never enough time for me. I don't have time to do that. I never get a minute to myself. How many of you feel this way? I think we all do at one time or another. More things I don't have can include feelings of missing out. My family members are doing all these fun things and social activities, and here I am, stuck in the house, caring for mom or dad or my spouse. Maybe you're missing out on time. If you're an adult child caring for a parent, you're missing out on time with your husband or your wife or your partner or your children or your friends. If you're trading time to be a caregiver, there's always something that you may not have anymore because you gave up X to be a caregiver. So the question is, how long are you willing to give up things you love, you miss, and you want in your life? Maybe you no longer have all of the social relationships and the friends and the connections that you used to have because now that time, that free time that you had to go and meet people after work or do something on the weekend, well, that time is devoted to caregiving. Other things that you may not have as a caregiver may be your good health and your energy level and your previously optimistic outlook on life. Maybe you were active. You exercised. Maybe you played on a softball team or a volleyball team or played sports. You ate healthy, and now all you do is rush around, meeting the needs of other people while you're watching your physical and your mental health and well-being spiral down the drain. Maybe you feel tired all the time. You're exhausted. You've gained weight. You're not happy with yourself. Other things that you can have as a caregiver that you didn't have before are emotions. Anger, resentment, emotional stress, exhaustion, burnout. You feel lost. You feel hopeless. You don't have confidence in yourself anymore. Maybe you gave up a job and an income to care for a family member and you're thinking, oh my God, what was I thinking? The longer you give things up, the longer you stop doing something, the harder it is for you to even imagine the possibility of doing those things again. There are a lot of things caregivers no longer have and do that can lead to feeling lost without a lot of options. If this is your first time on my channel, you might be wondering why I am qualified to talk to you about this. I'm Pamela D Wilson. I'm a caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker. I have 25 years of experience doing this personally and through my work endeavors. You can learn more about me by going below this video. There are plenty of links to my website, PamelaDWilson.com, my online courses, my podcast, my book, articles in my blog, information about my expert witness work for law firms and clients. Please do right now press the button, like this video, press the button, follow my channel, share these and the 900 other videos here, And comment, even if it's just to say thanks for the video or share your story. I do respond to every comment. Those comments below help other people find their way here, and I so appreciate them. So let's talk about all these conflicts. So work and family conflict can result from being a caregiver. Maybe you feel that you are neglecting parts of your life. And honestly, caregivers and any person experiences a lot of time constraints and stress because we feel like we're never going to catch up, or we're never going to get ahead, or that if you're a caregiver, that life you had over here before caregiving is never coming back. I know, because I've been a family caregiver and I've worked in this professional area for the past 25 years. There are times, honestly, when I even felt like everything was so overwhelming and impossible, and I just didn't know how I was going to get it all done. And maybe I was sleeping, 3 or 4 hours a night if I was lucky, because I had so much to do. And as a caregiver, you may be thinking, oh my gosh, am I ever going to catch up? Am I ever going to catch a break? The answer is yes, if you think about it. Part of gaining the confidence and building the confidence to know that I can deal with all of these hard things, with these things that might seem impossible, is mental, right? It's up here. Now, the other practical part is actually doing it, which we'll talk about. But let's talk about the mental first. Many caregivers, because of this day-to-day grind of work and responsibility and caregiving, get into this mental space where everything just seems overwhelming, and it's a struggle, and it's impossible, because you get to the point where you can't even imagine how you're going to do X, Y, or Z. You're too tired. You're too exhausted to even devote the brain time to think, what does it take to do X? What does it take to do Y? What does it take to do Z? And you're just barely hanging on. So if you can just stop and hit the reset button and say, you know what? I can change this. This situation can change. It is not impossible. And you do that by retraining your mind to think positive thoughts and to think about the possible instead of the impossible. You also have to, though, put a time frame on it. Because if you don't put a time frame and you don't commit, you're never going to do it. How many of us have these things on our list that I never get to it. I want to do that craft project, or gosh, yeah, I should have mowed the lawn last week, or I'll get around to it someday. So let me ask you a question that can just lead this whole conversation to a much bigger perspective. Do you know who you are and what you want from life? Do you see yourself only as a caregiver, or do you see yourself as a person who has a lot of possibilities and a lot of opportunities? As a caregiver, you may have known at some time who you were, but because of everything that's happened, you forgot who you were, and you forgot your dreams, and that person you once were, you don't even know who that was. A lot of caregivers tell me that this happens to them. So the first step is to figure out who you are. I'm a smart, capable, able adult with a lot of talents. And yeah, one of these things I do is caregiving, but that is not my full-time job. That is not my full-time responsibility. My parents taking care of themselves, that's their responsibility. My responsibility over here is to make myself happy and to get what I want out of life. But most of us put these things off. We put them off far into the future, or we don't put a timeline on them. I mean, I've done this myself at times. Maybe we say, I want this, but I don't have to have it right now, so maybe in 5 years or 10 years, I'll get this. But if you don't work and you don't plan for it, I will tell you it's not coming today, and it's not coming in 5 or 10 years. We do this because right now, it seems like there's just too much going on for us to even think about the future or plan for it or do anything about it. Well, why not do it now? Why not start thinking and planning and doing now? So, let's look at some practical steps to combine to overcome these mental blocks, these thoughts that say, that's not possible, I can't do X, Y, and Z, I got too much to do, I'll put it off till tomorrow, next week, next month. So what if you ask yourself the question, now you have to have some goals, right? What if, or how can I reach my 5-year goals in 12 months' time? Whew, that's a big question, isn't it? That's a lot to think about. But what if? And why not start thinking about that? Why not say, well, if I could do this and this and this, I could get there? Because when you start to think that way, your brain starts to solve problems for you. Now, sometimes if you do that, your brain's going to start telling you all the reasons you can't reach your 5-year goal in 12 months. You don't have this, you can't do that, got all this stuff going on. But what if you could? What are the obstacles that are preventing you from reaching that 5-year goal in 12 months? If you can figure that out, you can start to create a plan to address each and every other obstacle in your life. So if we translate this to every day-to-day caregiving, what do you want? Do you want more time for yourself and less time caring for someone else? Do you want to reestablish relationships with friends? Do you want to learn a new skill? Why not? All those thoughts that keep telling you that you can't, or those problems that keep happening and happening and happening, will keep coming, and they will keep repeating until you say, you know what? Stop. Stop. This is madness. I cannot continue to do this. They're going to keep happening until you come up with a plan to stop it, to solve the problems, to come up with a solution and identify the possibility. So the good thing in all of this is ongoing problems can be that thing that push us out of our comfort zone for us to say, you know what? No more. I've done this too long. I'm not willing to put up with this anymore. It's affecting my life, my career, my family, everything. And so I am going to commit to finding a way to think differently and to look at options. And then we look at our resources, so time, our health, money, skills, knowledge, access to people who know more than we do. If you can identify the gap between where you are and where you want to be and what it takes to get there, then you can start working on it. The thing you have to ask yourself is, are these barriers and are these obstacles more up here? Are they more in your mind and the way that you look at life and in your beliefs to the degree that they're not even real? You're making them real because you're thinking them up here, but they're not real. They're not real obstacles. For a lot of people, this is the case, especially if you spend a lot of time with non-believers. People who say, you can't do that, that's never going to happen. And the person that you care for can fall into this category because they want you to stay in their life. They need you. They need your help. They've become very comfortable with you doing everything for them, and they expect that. And they have taught you to expect that that's the goal of your life. Your life is to care for somebody else to the exclusion of everything that you want in your life, to the exclusion of caring for yourself. No, 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 no. No, no. You do not have to fall into a pattern that is comfortable for someone else or that is convenient for someone else. You don't have to become someone else's life plan. You make your own plan for your life. People in caregiving roles that I talk to fall into these patterns all the time. They think, oh, I was only going to be a caregiver for a year, 12 months, then I'll, go do something else. Well, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later, they're stuck and they feel like they can't get out. So consider what you need to do to change the way you think. Do you need to listen to a motivational podcast the first thing when you get up in the morning? Or find some motivational videos? Or read books that motivate you for 10 minutes every morning and for 10 minutes before you go to bed, maybe 10 minutes at your lunchtime? You have to get your mind out of this place where you're stuck and you're negative and you're missing out on all these things. You've got to change your mindset first. and you can, then all you have to do is start dreaming and thinking about what's possible. Think about all those things you used to do and realize, you know what? I can get back there. I can do those things again. Start with one thing. Just one thing. Most caregivers want more of their own time and less time in caregiving. Some caregivers want to get 8 hours of sleep at night. Can you imagine if you got 8 hours of sleep every night? How it could change the way that you think about life, how it could change the way that you feel, your energy level. I mean, you may just be this steamroller moving toward your goals. Fast forward, if you could get some sleep, right, on a regular basis. Or maybe you're just a caregiver who wants a weekend off. Why not? Other people have weekends off. Why should you not have this as a caregiver? Make these things happen by changing your beliefs and figuring out how to do it. Now, sometimes this can be a little hard, but you can do it. Sometimes you have to give up one thing to have another thing to make the next thing happen. Believe that you can do it. Ask how your current habits are getting in the way. Write it all down. Simple things like, I want to go do this, but am I spending too much money on, driving through Starbucks every day? Or, am I smoking cigarettes and I could cut back? I mean, what can I stop spending money on over here that I really don't need that maybe is a crutch, so that I could maybe go out to dinner or maybe go somewhere for our weekend? Are you saying yes to other people instead of saying yes to yourself? Are you, sitting on the couch at night when you could go out for a walk, and during that walk you could think about possibilities and how to plan your life? But instead, you're watching TV and your mind is getting, it's spinning with what's going on in this TV show, and I got to do this and that and that. Sometimes you got to just restructure your activity and your time so you have time to think. Whatever you might think is impossible is only impossible until you start doing it. You have to decide that this thing that is not in your life anymore, whatever you want, is so important to you that you're going to commit to it. Ask yourself, what's the cost of not doing this? Is the cost having this imbalanced life where all I'm doing is taking care of other people instead of myself? The cost is putting my dreams on hold. I may never accomplish anything that I wanted to in life. So put a cost on that thing. And put a cost on the mental stress that it's causing you and the physical stress that it's causing you and maybe the damage that it's doing to other parts of your life, because everything has a cost. What are the things you no longer have as a caregiver? What in your life no longer serves you or makes you feel good? What of these things are the most important to you to get back? Start setting timelines on what you want to do and set timelines for getting what you want. Because a goal without a timeline, it's really not a goal, because you know what we do? We allow that goal to keep slipping until next week and next month and next year, and then years pass and we think, I'm never going to be able to do this, right? If you've been a caregiver for some time, you know this. So today, write out a list of things that you no longer have and that you want. Then make a list of things that you want as a person who's not identified by being a caregiver. You're not a caregiver. What are these things? I want these. I want that. I don't want this anymore. Then figure out the gaps and the obstacles, figure out what resources you need, and start focusing on how to work through this. Set aside time every day, even if it's 10 minutes, to just plan to do that goal, and it will become a habit. I thank you so much for being here. I'm Pamela D Wilson, a caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker. Hope you found this video helpful. Please do press the button to like, press the button to follow my channel. Comment right now below, thanks for the video. Hey, your video helped me. This is my situation, whatever. I respond to all comments. Your participation in the comment section of these videos helps other people throughout the world find their way here. Again, thanks for being here. I will see you all again soon in another video.